Ladies and gentlemen, in contrast to the previous speaker, I will be talking only about one single program in my presentation. It should be a lot easier. It is the Nordic-Baltic Mobility and Network Program for Business and Industry, and the Nordic Council of Ministers office in Latvia, which I represent, has been given a mandate to administrate this program in all 8 program countries. The program period is from 2009 to 13. The aim is to promote economic cooperation, innovation development in the so-called NB8 countries. That is the countries listed on the slide. The 5 Nordic countries, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway and Sweden, as well as Latvia, Lithuania and Estonia. I would very much like to stress that this program is not a Nordic program, it's a Nordic-Baltic program. It is financed by all 8 Nordic-Baltic countries on equal footing. The financing principle is in proportion to GDP of each country, which is, by the way, also the principle how the Nordic Council of Ministers budget is financed when, for instance, Norway pays in absolute amounts more than Iceland to their budget. The annual budget is 2.3 million Danish crowns, which translates into approximately 300,000 euros. That is for each year. Purpose is promotion of regional business development, cooperation, networking cooperation and innovative projects, harmonization of business practice, business culture and corporate social responsibility in the region. A very important purpose is promotion of joint Nordic-Baltic utilization of EU funds. And we heard in the previous session today a presentation from Latvian IT cluster, Mrs. Lilita Sporāne, where she showed how exactly they have used a grant in this program to meet, to coordinate, to write up an application together with their Nordic partners for a larger EU fund in the future. Technology transfer for mutual benefit, it can be both ways. We've had examples for the technology is transferred from the Baltic to Nordic countries as well. And support of long-term activities. The overall goal is to increase competitiveness of the region. So in those cases where the Nordic and Baltic countries do not compete, when they can cooperate and work for external markets, for instance. Specific sector priority areas are set by the program steering group each year. The steering group is consists of senior officials of all 8 countries. New priorities this year are green growth, green technologies, etc. Also health and welfare innovation. And from the previous years of the program, the remainder priorities: young entrepreneurs, networking of business incubators, promoting cluster cooperation in creative, innovative, knowledge-based industries, as well as initiatives to identify and remove barriers to trade and mobility within the Nordic-Baltic region. That is something that the Nordic Council of Ministers, the Nordic countries have competence in the Nordic region, but they're still working on removal of barriers between the countries. So who can apply? The applicants, it can be individuals representing a company, for instance, or it can be group. Small, medium-sized enterprises with special focus on creative and innovative industries. It doesn't mean that other industries may not apply, but these are given a priority to. as well as business incubators and business organizations. And under business organizations, it could be branch organizations, it could be chambers of commerce, it can be interpreted rather widely. Eligible forms of activity, it is a mobility program, so mobility and networking program, so the budget lines, the forms that can be financed from the program are networking, that is seminars, workshops, business meetings. Then so far the most popular form is study visits. It could also be internships, that is a longer visit in a partner company, up to 3-4 weeks in certain cases. And on-the-job training, which is understood as when a trainer comes to train employees at a company in the other country. Mobility models in each project, at least 3 countries must participate. And the 2 principal models is for study trips, that if a company applies from the Baltic country, for instance from Latvia, then they may visit partners in at least 2 Nordic countries. It can be 2 or more Nordic countries, and vice versa. The program doesn't support mobility between Baltic countries or between Nordic countries. Networking, it is said it has to be at least 3 partners and representing both Nordic and Baltic side. Eligible costs. This is the mobility cost, that is travel expenses, travel insurance, as well as accommodation and per diems in the partner country. In certain cases, also mobility costs of experts participating in networking meetings and seminars and workshops may be financed. And the co-financing rate is required 30%, minimum 30% of the eligible budget. If you look at the statistics, nearly 150 projects have been financed in the first 3 years of the program. Looking at how the granted projects split among the countries, one can see that if you look at the main applicant country, that is the country from which applicant that submits the application comes, then the leading country is actually Latvia with 22 projects, followed by Estonia and Lithuania. So you can see that there is some disproportion between the Nordic and Baltic countries when it comes to who applies to the program. However, if you look at the total partners, the partners participating as networking partners or as hosts, then the Nordic countries prevail in numbers. Due to lack of time, I will not go into detail on specific examples of results of this program. However, there was an external evaluation, a midterm evaluation carried out at the end of last year by Semināra Baltijas, and they did a questionnaire of the grantees, and to our surprise, they found that as much as 50% of the beneficiaries, after finishing their projects in the program, had already started a new joint project, and also quite a big proportion have conducted meetings, have maintained contacts and plans for the future. The application round is once a year. There was an application round this spring, and the next will most likely be at the end of March 2012. And the application process, as of this year, all application is carried out through an electronic application system at this address, nbaidgrants.org. Also, the project administration and reporting is done electronically through the system. This is how it looks, the front page of the portal. In making an application, one is required to register and create a profile. The application is not open yet, but it will be at least 8 weeks in advance of the application term. And an applicant can create their application stepwise. It doesn't have to be in one sitting. You can save your application, come back and finish it and submit. So this is my contact information, so if you have questions about the program, you wish to apply, or otherwise you're most welcome to contact me. Thank you.